Thank you for joining me as we continue the conversation of what it means to be a servant leader. First of all, servant leaders use power as Jesus did in the service of others. They empower and develop followers, attend to community, and the thriving of all members. They're not afraid to challenge presuppositions and structures in pursuit of a greater good. We don't doubt that as a healer, Jesus cared for the sick. However, we may fail to notice that as a leader, Jesus created communities that could heal others. At its core, servant leadership is about leaders meeting the needs of their followers by showing empathy and ethics. And these leaders ignore ego and personal ambition. Servant leadership, it's not just a concept that's implemented in churches, it's working in successful corporations as well. Some companies that employ these practices include TD Industries, Southwest Airlines, Chick-fil-A, ServiceMaster in Memphis, Tennessee, and the Toro Company in Bloomington, Minnesota. Servant leadership, guess what? It is good for business. Servant leadership is working to make these organizations into communities that are routinely listed in Fortune magazine's 100 best companies to work for. So, what's the key test of servant leadership? As stated before, Greenleaf made the test of servant leadership very clear. Do those served grow as persons? Do they become healthier, wiser, freer, more likely themselves to become servants? Will they benefit those that are poor or hurting or those that are in the community that seek refuge? These groups are effectively addressing new ways of thinking. Servant leadership principles are transforming bosses and managers, they're empowering employees, and building bridges into communities. So, what does it mean to be fully committed to this style of leadership? Wenger describes it as groups of people who share a concern, a set of problems, or a passion about a topic. They deepen their knowledge and expertise in the area by interacting on an ongoing basis. Some communities are formed across departments, boundaries, and even industries. These servant leaders gather around a particular question or a problem. They seek out ways to identify innovative solutions. Not only do they find ways to solve problems, but they grow as individuals. And this is because they're building relationships, trust, and mutual commitment around a common cause. If we're going to grow and develop servant leaders, we've got to learn together. We've got to be willing to manage conflict, share leadership and experiences together, because everybody benefits when an individual contributes to the group, the team, and the ministry. There's a clear correlation between success of these organizations and essential practices of what it means to be a servant leader. Those practices are things such as listening, empathy, awareness, foresight, stewardship, commitment to the growth of people, and building community. Being a servant leader means cultivating both generosity of spirit and humility, both clarity and compassion. This is really part of the formation process for servant leaders. In fact, our beings are shaped by all of our experiences, especially what we do. What one does regularly, his or her practices, not only shape behavior, but it produces internal goods in the person practicing them. They shape the being of the person engaged in those practices. The practice of virtue, it makes us virtuous, cultivates integrity as a quality of our being. The virtues are sustained practices that enable us to achieve the good internal practices. They help us to overcome harms, dangers, temptations, distractions that we might encounter along the way. In virtue, leaders find the stable and enduring power they need to maintain conviction. The connection between practices of servant leadership and virtues provide guidance that leaders need in order to thoroughly embody servant leadership. In Christian thought, some fundamental virtues include things such as wisdom, temperance, courage, and justice. Theological virtues are faith, hope, and love. Humility grounds leaders and their vision. It enables them to serve those who strive with them to achieve great things. It reflects our call to partner with God and our dependence on Him. Effective leaders see themselves as facilitators of other success. These leaders, they understand, can't achieve any results without team members. These leaders don't view their team members as people working for them. Instead, they see team members as people working with them. They think we and not I. Effective leaders don't spend most of their time commanding, controlling, coercing team members. Instead, they turn the power dynamic upside down. They use their organizational power to support team members because effective leadership is servant based. As a servant leader, your primary role is really to remove obstacles that prevent the people you support from achieving their goals. If they lack knowledge or skills, you provide training, coaching to address their performance gaps. If they need equipment or materials, you do all you can to get the resources to them that they need. If processes or procedures need changing, you do everything in your power to make those changes while still maintaining a spirit of excellence. As a servant leader, you're constantly assessing what your team members need to be successful. With this ongoing process, you're working to support their success. To lead people successfully, start each day by looking for the answer to the question, what does my team need from me today to be successful? Once you determine that answer, do everything in your power to give your team what they need. Because when your team is successful, you are successful. And so, effective leadership is really about meeting the goals of your organization, of your ministry. And so, if you're focusing too much on your own needs, then you're not effectively leading your team. I pray that this session has been helpful as we unpack what it means to be a true servant leader in the eyes of the Lord. May God bless you.